Hello, crafty friends. Anna Marie here. I am so happy to hop on and share this month's Stamp with Friends projects. We are prepping for winter and Christmas this month, and I've got a variety of styles to share with you. I want to say first, welcome in if you're hopping on live. This is totally a pop-up, no announcement given. I finally have a little bit of time to sit down and craft with you. I have uploaded the recipe sheet for the projects that I'm going to share with you. The recipe sheet is found in the files section right above this post. If you're on a desktop device, if you're on a phone or a tablet, I can't help you navigate. Hopefully you can make your way through and find it. The recipe sheet lists all of the products that I'm using on these projects. They have color coding. If you find it in red, it means it is an online exclusive, and I hope that I have been accurate. Things just kind of get out of control on where the products are coming from. To the best of my knowledge, everything is currently available. Let's see, I try to keep it that way, but it changes by the moment, and it depends on when you're watching. If you have to leave today's session, you can always hop over to the YouTube channel, Just Stamp with Anna Marie, or if it's within the next 30 days, you can watch it right here. All right, my friends, let's get started. I'm sharing with you the recipe sheet. It is front and back, and I'm gonna start off with one of the cutest little projects, I think, in this month's assortment. It is the Gingerbread Man. It's a cute holiday card, Baking Spirits Bright, and it features one of the online exclusives that might have snuck past you. This is the velvet paper. It's called All Season Velvet. Little Gingerbread Man is wearing a red velvet hat with some white velvet on the brim. He's got a little peppermint lollipop and some of those cute red and white peppermint buttons. You might wonder where the card base came from. It is part of the Christmas greetings cards and envelopes assortment. Really pretty plaid. The pack comes with two colors. One is the crumb cake and the other one is the pretty Christmas green. You're gonna love these card bases. They're nice weight, they're a nice size, and they have little gold plaid right in them. I'm loving them. They also have a coordinating envelope. So cute. You get 10 per pack, I think. So I'm starting with that card base. Let's talk about the Gingerbread Man. He comes from the die set Gingerbread Man, and you're going to notice his little hand is kind of strange. That's because the die has two gingerbread men with a score in the middle, so you could make this a shaped card. However, we're just going to use one of the gingerbread men, and I've pre-cut it in pecan pie. I'm just going to snip off that little portion, and you don't even have to worry about being nice and neat because you're going to notice in the card it's going to be covered anyway. So we have our pecan pie gingerbread man. Let's do some die cutting before we start assembling our card. So we're going to start off with that red velvet. I've got a nice little piece. Let's see where my dies are. I just try to be organized, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so let's see. For this piece, for this red velvet piece, we're going to need one hat, one scarf, and one bow, and the bow will cut in 3 pieces. So you see how nicely that fits on the strip that I've got, and it also fits on the mini. So let me bring in the mini cut and emboss machine, and just, you're forewarned. By the way, I didn't mention, I invite you to say hello if you are watching me live. I love it when you are watching, and I'd love to hear your comments, or I love to read your comments. So if you're watching me live, give a shout out. If you're watching on the replay, let me know you pop by. Always want to know who's watching. It's a nice surprise sometimes. All right, so we're going to do one pass with the red velvet, and we're going to go ahead and release these. I might need my take your pick to pop them out. Remember that bow comes in 3 pieces. So, and I've got my scarf, and then I just need to pop out the little hat, and that's what I need my take your pick for. It has the little release points on it. Let's keep going. Let's die cut our white velvet hat. And while we're at it, we're also going to take a piece of cherry cobbler and then that little cinnamon swirl for the peppermint. I should say peppermint swirl for the peppermint lollipop. We're going to run that through as well. And I love it when dies, whoops, already see one slipping. I'm going to fix it. When dies fit on the mini, because everything is within reach on my tabletop. Okay, so let me say something about the mini as well. If you are a Stampin' Up! Fan, you may know this already, but Stampin' Up! Has this wonderful join offer right now. This is October 2025. In case you catch this on the replay, you'll know when I was talking about. It's only $35 to choose $125 of product. And you pay no shipping. All you pay is tax. It is the craziest joint offer. And I've had several people take advantage of it. And several of my friends have had people take advantage of it. It's irresistible, totally. $35 for $125 of product. If you haven't joined yet, I would love it if you joined with me, because we have lots of fun in our Stamperista group. You get a monthly meeting, you get to participate in swaps and challenges, you get my tutorials for free, and yeah, it's a beautiful team, the Stamperistas. Reach out if you're interested. And the reason I tie that into the mini is because, of course, you could get the mini within that $125. What a deal. And you still have plenty more to shop with. There's another offer for $99. You get $189 of product, and then you could buy the standard size cut and emboss machine, or whatever you like. If you've already got your crafting tools closet stocked, you can always buy your consumables like cardstock and papers and envelopes. I'm telling you, this is amazing, the deal. When I think back to when I joined back in 2001, I think I spent over $300 on my starter kit, and it did not offer the flexibility that today's kits offered, meaning I didn't get to pick and choose. You kind of got what you got. I may have been able to pick colors and maybe choose between a couple different stamp sets and things, but I did not have the entire offering of catalogs and online exclusives available to me. It's really, really a great deal. I can't say it enough, but I'm going to move on. I think I've done almost all my die cutting. I'm trying to, let's see, put my die cuts away as I go because I don't want them to get lost. And some of them are tiny, that little squiggly. And you know what, I haven't been calling out what I've been doing, but we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so I have all my die cuts done. And now I'm going to talk about what I die cut in addition to that cute little hat. You know what, let's put the hat together. And I love the way this die cut works. We've got built-in path right here. We're just going to snip off the brim, and it's already die cut. There's a slot in there, and that's going to go atop the red. And then I'm going to take that pom-pom, and I'm just going to curve around, very easy, nothing detailed, and we're going to adhere that to the top of the hat. How cute! I love this little set. And let's see. Okay, so I'm going to use a glue dot to stick that on easily. On the velvet, my favorite go-to Tombow liquid glue would probably not be the best choice because it might be a little bit messy on the velvet. So I'm just using mini glue dots. I never touch the glue dot, put it right onto the tape runner. That way there's no struggle with that adhesive, because I think I've said it before, the glue dot always wins when there's a power struggle. There we go. So that's a cute little hat, adorable, right? And if you are like me and you don't want to lose your pieces, the best thing to do is go ahead and add them. So I'm going right with the curve of his head. I'm going to put his little hat on to this side. And that's also a good guide for where I'm going to want his features, his eyes and his mouth. I also cut that swirl from the peppermint lollipop. And, oh, so let's talk about that lollipop shape. It comes with a swirl attached, but that is not the swirl that I'm using for this lollipop. I think that this swirl would be for the peppermint candy. And so I'm not going to be using that. Just put that aside. Instead, I'm using this swirl. And to reach in there, I'm going to take my tweezers and put together my lollipop. There we go. So cute. I love it. Now let's put together our bow. And let's see. The bow is going to go onto the little tails. Right, like so. And let's put the bow center right in place. I might need my take your pick to do that. Take your pick. It's one of your best friends in your craft box. There we go. And he's going to be going on to Gingerbread Man in just a second. So let's take two of the little squigglies that I die cut in white. I'm going to be snipping those in half. They are going to be shared with the arms and the legs. And to be honest, they're not going to be shown too much in the arms, but we're going to put them on anyway. And again, I'm trying to keep this nice and clean. I'm going to use my tweezers to help me out with the adhesive because I am using my liquid glue. You just need the tiniest bit. Too many of my friends struggle with liquid glue because there's too much glue. You just need the tiniest bit. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times, dot, dot, not a lot. Right there, there, there. And I'm just putting him, you know what? I'm kind of out of view, right? Sorry about that. There's his little legs with those swirls, and we're going to do the same on his arms. And I will also say that this coordinating stamp set has an outline die that you can outline your gingerbread man. And I find it a little bit fussy, so I'm enjoying the die cut more than the stamp, but I do like many of the other stamps that are in the stamp set. So there we go. And let's see, we'll hold off on the lollipop. Let's put his scarf on. And it goes right under his chin, like his neck. Uh-oh, I have a little bit of glue there. Glue going on. Let's stamp his eyes and mouth, and we're going to do the greeting while we're stamping. So let me grab my stamps. And I'm just stamping in basic black or tuxedo black. You all may know that I have created my own tuxedo black pad using the craft pad. I just used my refill and poured it onto the craft pad because sometimes I like the texture of the craft pad better than the memento pad. All right, so I'm looking for my eyes and mouth, and I will say you have options with this little stamp set. You could pick the little open mouth and eyes, the little winky eyes, but I've just chosen the one with the eyes and the mouth. And I'm gonna flip that and tap, tap, tap to get ink on my eyes and mouth. I'm gonna bring in a little piece of chipboard because this is a photopolymer stamp. And this is what I was talking about with that hat in place. Now I can kind of see a little bit better where I'm gonna put his eyes and mouth. I didn't want to put it too high, I didn't want to put it too low. I think that's perfect, right? Okay, so there's his little face. I also said we're gonna stamp the greeting. So cute. Baking Spirits Bright. I'm gonna do the same technique. I'm gonna flip my stamp over and tap, tap, tap. Make sure I'm well inked. And I prefer the tap, tap, tap upside down because I'm not getting too much ink. That outline, shadowy ghost area, this kind of helps with that. So I'm just gonna stamp down, whoops. Perfect. Baking Spirits Bright. All right, I'm gonna close up my ink pad. Let's do a little bit of snipping. Take all my parts, remove that. Bring in my paper snips, and I'm gonna make the little dovetails on the label. So I just snip up the middle and then start from each corner and meet it in the middle. And on the other side as well. I think that this little guy would be an awesome tag for a little bag of baked goods or cookies or goodies, candies, all the stuff during the Christmas season. All right, so I've got my pieces there. And then finally, I'm gonna bring in one more element. This is an early espresso frame cut from the dies of the Gallery Blooms die set. Right, so now what I like to do, I'm gonna have my little guy kind of popping through the frame, and I'm gonna do that before I mount it. I want his head coming through. There we go, a little bit better. So he's kind of popping through, and I'm gonna flip that over. And let's see, I'm gonna glue him down. I might use a little dab of glue in there to make sure he's set. That way when I flip it over to adhere to the card front, he's already in position, if that makes sense. Let me bring in my card base, get my little guy. Whoopsie, almost had my lollipop in place there. Let's see. All right, now this is gonna go flat onto my card front. And I'm just gonna add a little trail around the frame. You see how little I use, and I never go up to the edge, and a little bit in the middle. I never want it to ooze out. And I'm just gonna sort of center. I like a little bit wider edge at the bottom. There we go. I think he's looking really cute, right? Okay, let's see. We need, I can already see I lost my peppermints. Okay, so I'm gonna add his lollipop here, and it's gonna go on flat just like the rest of the elements. So go ahead and put him in his hand. Now I'm ready to add my bow. Right at the top of the lollipop. And this is what I meant. You can barely see a peak of those squigglies on his hands. And we're almost done. If only I could find my peppermints. They are in my envelope, just where I put them. Let's add his little peppermint buttons. And he's got 2 buttons going on. You could stamp the buttons. The stamp set includes a stamp of the buttons. And then finally, we're gonna add the greeting popped up on dimensionals. Well, let's see. Got a little supply of standard right here. the standard fit perfectly on the greeting label. And we're gonna pop him right over. I want the greeting popping out of the frame just a tiny bit. Bring it down a little, make sure it's kind of straight. And there we go, Baking Spirits Bright, that cute little gingerbread guy. What do you think? I'm liking him. So you can see the slight variation with the little white pom-pom. Would you vote for this or would you vote for that? I think that little white pom-pom adds a nice element. And that was one of the introductions by one of my Stamp with Friends stampers. She just went the extra step of adding that, and I think it makes a big difference. Tell me in the comments, this or that. They're doing it the other way. This or that. There we go. Make Baking Spirits Bright. Card number 1 in this month's offering. All right, we're gonna go over, I'm gonna follow my recipe sheet here. The next card I'm gonna make is a Wintry Happy Birthday card. And let's bring in our supplies for that. Let me get settled. And here we go. Here's what the finished card looks like. It has some beautiful winter flowers on it. You may recognize that little floral spray from the Charming Day bundle. And then I've got some textures going on with this as well. So let's see. We are going to have to do some die cutting on this project as well. I did not prep too much in advance. I'm going to be sharing with you all the prepping. So our card base is that nice thick white cardstock, Whisper White. I've already pre-cut, pre-scored. And I'm just gonna burnish that down with my bone folder. And I have a slice of the Elegant Pines Snowflakes. I've got 2 patterns going on. This is a beautiful Secret Sea background with cherry cobbler berries and old olive and mossy meadow pines. It's a gorgeous paper. And I have a nice little sampling of that pattern. We're going to apply it right to the card base, about 1/8 of an inch border on 3 sides. And I didn't want this pattern to overpower the cards, so we're going to have a little bit of neutral texture going on. Well, I say that, where is it? Did I lose it already? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have to sing the uh-oh song and go see if I can find that piece of cardstock. Oh, I found it. It was hiding under the shaded spruce. Okay, so I have a piece of basic white cardstock, and I have pre-embossed it with the Damask Designs embossing folder. And together with the Elegant Pines, this is gonna be our background for our pretty happy birthday card. There we go. And I must say, you could make it a Merry Christmas card as well. All right, so we have our card base going on. The next layers are going to be frames that I have cut with the branching out dies. So if you haven't had a peek at that branching out bundle, it's an online exclusive. I only purchased the dies on this bundle because I wanted these nesting frames, and that you get a couple of other detail dies that are just beautiful for card making, not just Christmas time, but all the time. So I pre-cut the larger one in cherry cobbler. The smaller one is basic white. It's going to be our backdrop for our floral spray. All right, so now we have our card base assembled. I'm going to put that aside. We're going to do our die cutting. And I am die cutting on basic white. Let me show you the pieces we're using from the Charming Day bundle, I have that floral spray that has a foliage, some pretty leaves, and let's see, I need to make way for the mini. Right here, and I'm going to bring this up. Let's see. I'm wondering if I can do a bit of little double duty. I'm going to put that in there. I have a piece of early espresso cardstock. We're going to need some pine cones and a little stem for our floral spray, and these come from the branching out bundle. So we have a little, whoops, pine cone. I hope I said pine cone, not acorn. And then one of the little branches on early espresso. You see how I try to maximize my manual labor. I'm only going to pass through once to create all of these die cuts. And I am holding my breath that nothing shifted as I stacked my layers. All right, let's see. We're still going to need our mini. We're not finished with the die cutting yet. Let's move that aside. And let me bring in my take your pick again. I'm going to peel off my die cut. And this is your prerogative. You'll see when I remove the die cut, sometimes not all the pieces pop out. Now that one obviously needs to go. So we have a flower here. It's your prerogative. Do you want to poke those out or do you want to leave them? You could combine, leaving them in or popping them out. Totally up to you. I'm trying to remove some of them. And it just gives a little bit more detail on the petals. So we have that in basic white. We're not done with our die cutting yet. Let's pop out our one pine cone and our little stem. It kind of looks like berries. All right. And I'm going to do a double. Oops, I'm not. I'm only going to do one. My piece of early espresso is kind of small today. That's okay. One pine cone will suffice. You get the idea. It just goes to show you that you do not have to create your card just like mine. All right, let's see. Let's get my one little branch out. And I'm not finished die cutting yet. I have one more pass for my shaded spruce foliage. And I'm going to put that away. All right, so next I'm going to bring out shaded spruce, and I'm going to use two dies. One is from the branching out die set, and one is the branch from Charming Day. Let's see, this will fit just like that. And we pass that through on the mini. The shaded spruce just looks beautiful with that cherry cobbler. Beautiful pine leaves from the branching out, and a nice branch from the Charming Day. And I think it's time for me to run my dies through with the wax paper from the kitchen. I'm going to pop those out. And that as well. There we go. And then my pines. These are so cool. And honestly, this was one of the dies that caught my attention. I love those little pine needles. Let's put the dies away. And I think there are my elements for my floral spray. Now, you'll notice my floral spray is white. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring out a little piece of white paper so I don't mess up my mat. All right. I've got my cherry cobbler ink pad. And I have a dauber. And I think right now these daubers might be on back order, but you can get them anytime. All right. And I'm just going to dab on. I'm going to try and avoid the branch and leaf area. So just put your, it's not rocket science, just cover it up somehow. Put your finger there, get a little scrap of white, it'll work. It will work. And I like to layer on the color. Some areas a little bit darker, just gives more dimension to your flowers. So some darker areas, some lighter areas, just like nature. There's one flower. And again, just cover up those leaves so you don't get too much cherry cobbler on your green leaf area. And I'm going in layers. And just, I'm not afraid to cover up some of these areas so I avoid getting the green on. This has to be one of the easiest ways. Look what else I'm going to do. I'm just going to fold that little petal back. It's all good. All right, and this one is connected. The next little leaf is connected, so I'm just going to have to cover that up. And I'm going to be careful at the base of the flower. So let's see, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of cover that up just a tiny bit because the cup or the base of the flower is going to be green. So I don't want to get too much cherry on there and muddy the color. But there we go. All right, let's see. I think the rest is going to be greenery, except for this bit. Oh, I'm doing it the wrong way. Silly me. There we go. One little flower poking out there. Okay, so next, let's bring in the shaded spruce, add our color. And I have another dauber for my green. And I'm going to repeat with my green. And I do like this a little bit darker, so I'm going to pounce on a little bit more color. And make sure. I think I'm going to come back in and do a little touch up in just a second. Oops. You could be more gentle with your leaves. It's all going to work out though because we're going to be adhering, so it's okay. A little bit more there. And let's see. Leaves here. So I think it's been a minute. I think I may have missed my September club with you. I was traveling and just overwhelmed with trying to get everything in. You know how it goes. That I wasn't able to hop in and share my projects. Here we go. So just layer that in, and oh, there's one more little piece I want to touch up. Bring back my cherry cobbler on for that flower. And looks like I have another little area of green that I need to add right here at the base. And I'm going to do a little bit of masking. Just take, this was going to be in the rubbish bin anyway, so let's do that. There we go. I over colored. Let's see. Just blend it in. And keep in mind too, if it's not perfect, some of the areas are going to be covered with the sentiment, so no worries there. Overall, I think it's very pretty. I've got little areas there that I might want to add more. Make it a little bit darker. There we go. Did I dip into the green? I think I might have. Whoa! Now it's much darker. Okay, ready. Let's move on. We did our coloring with our daubers. All right, let's see. And I think I have inky fingers. Let's see. Right. And let's see. Let's bring in our card base. We are going to be adding our pines at the top and our leafy branch towards the bottom. We will layer in our floral spray, pop our little twigs in the background there. And since I have only one pine cone, it's going to go a little bit more prominently up here. And I think I like my little arrangement. Let's see. Let's see. All right, let's go with my glue dot technique. Since I've already arranged my flowers the way I want them, I don't want to move them too much. So I'm going to bring in a glue dot and secure some of these pieces down. Whoops. Except my fingers are moving already. And let's see, I'm going to put that floral spray down into position. And my little pine cone. Here we go. All right, so I think I have some friends watching, I hope. Thanks so much for popping in. I was unannounced. I had time. Wanted to share these projects before I move on because there's lots going on. I'm kind of excited. I have a new friend that I'm going to introduce on Monday. You're going to get to meet my new friend. All right, and let's pop a dimensional back here in place. There we go. Oh, I have another little floral, a little twig. And I think I'm going to put it down towards the bottom. Right there. And let's use a little glue dot to keep it in place. I am finding I'm using glue dots more these days. They're my little helper when I don't want things to be moving about. There we go. And oh, I neglected to stamp my greeting when I had my stamps out. That's okay. This is in early espresso. It's a happy birthday card. Let's see if that's going to be big enough. Yeah, I guess so. All right, let's pounce it the other way. Stamp down, upside down, pounce, pounce, pounce with my ink pad so I don't get the ghosty halo effect. And hopefully I can get this in the right position. There we go. Happy birthday. This is a cling stamp set. Did you guys know these are going away? Everything is going to be photopolymer. No more red rubber. Okay, so on this one, I am not making the little dovetails. I'm just going to do my favorite diagonal slit, split, and split. And again, this is going to go on with dimensionals. But before I do that, I'm going to use the tiniest little strand of this beautiful twine. It is the black and white and gold baker's twine. And you get two different spools, one with the white and one with the black. They both have gold. And I love the look of it. It's got beautiful texture to it. This is going to go right down in the background. We're going to put our little label there. So again, let's bring our mini glue dot. It's a good thing I get all of my adhesive at a discount because I go through a lot of adhesive. There we go. And this is going to be on dimensional, so let's flip that over. Let's grab a couple of minis. So I love having a variety of the dimensionals, mini, standard, black, and then the black also come in mini and standard size. So lots of options, and it's going to go right over top of that pretty bow. And one more thing, I hope. Let's see. I am going to add a little shimmer, and this is totally up to your style. Some people like to add Wink of Stella all over. I like to use it a little bit more selectively because if everything shines, nothing really stands out. So I'm just doing kind of like where the breaks are in the petals. I'm going to do a little bit of highlighting on each petal, kind of like they're collected some mists or some little dewdrops. Same with the pine needles. Maybe they got that little morning dew. Not a lot. It's kind of like with the embellishments. Oh, I have a stray little twig there. Let's get a glue dot and pop that down. And oh no, it's happened. I used my last glue dot. And it's a good thing I know where to get more. If you were in my studio, you'd know I only have to walk a few feet over. There we go. He's down. Let's continue with the Wink of Stella. I'm doing it on the leaves, just a little bit of mist. Not a lot. It's kind of like my glue, I guess. Not a lot. And it's going to show. You might not be able to see it on camera. I'll bring it up so you can see. We've got a little bit of shimmer and shine. You can kind of see on the leaves. I don't want to overwhelm with a shimmer. So there's my happy birthday card showcasing the charming day. I know you've seen it before. I've offered it before. I hope it wasn't last month. Happy birthday, a nice wintry card, right? So there we go. So we had Gingerbread Man and Charming Day birthday card. I'm going to flip over my recipe card, and I'm going to go over to one of the little cutest little Christmas cards featuring that Jolly Delivery bundle and the cute little cozy village in the background. I paired it with the Snowy Delight bundle, which has snowflakes. It's the snowflake bundle that has the masks. And I'm not going to be using those giant snowflakes, but I am going to be using the greetings, which I absolutely love. And let's take it away. This one is on a pool party card base. And I had one stamper comment that it's like a wonky fold. It's not really. It's the 4 1/4 by 11 card base, scored at 5.5. It's just that instead of it being a top fold, it's going to be a left fold. So it kind of opens like a book, the way a book should, not from the top. There we go. I have next, let's see, I'm going to have a piece of the designer series paper from the North Pole delivery. This has the little village with the snowy background. On the flip side are all the postal images, and I've cut it 2 3/4. This has 6 inches because I'm going to want to look at placement of my little critter walking through the village. This paper pack has 2 sheets of die cuts. One sheet has all the little critters, some bears, let's see, some skunks, some kitty cats, all kinds of little critters delivering messages. This is a nice big bear. The one I'm working with today is the cute little fox with that Santa hat. So I need to determine where I want to put him. I think I want to put him right at the bridge there. So he's facing left. You will see my bear is facing right. So that's a little bit different. And I don't want to snip. I'm glad I didn't snip this, because if I put him there, his tail would almost be hanging off. So I'm going to push that over a little bit. And I think that's where my cut's going to be. So let's go ahead and mat this on the Poppy Parade mat. So if the Designer Series paper is 2 3/4, my mat will be 3 inches wide. And it's matted with an equal border, top and bottom. And I'm just gonna make it easy on myself and adhere right to the right. Bring it down a little tiny bit. And now I'm going to snip that off. I'm just going to use my paper snips and use my Poppy Parade cardstock as my guide. There we go. And I don't want to lose my fox, so I'm going to pop him right onto the card front with a couple of dimensionals. And he's just kind of padding through the village on a snowy day, right, like so. Right, okay, so next we have to do a little bit of stamping. So we're going to bring in our stamps from the, let's see, the Snowy Bundle, Snowy Delights Bundle. I'm stamping in Pool Party, and so this is going to be tone on tone. My cardstock, you'll remember, is Pool Party. And I've got that little flurry of small snowflakes. I'm just going to create a border up at the top. One stamp is sufficient because it's just barely peeking out. It being the snowflakes are just barely peeking out from the top and bottom. And it doesn't matter if I get perfect inkings. That's why I didn't worry about the chipboard below. There we go. Easy stamping. So I've got my little snowflake border. Let's see, my sentiments are in Garden Green, and I picked that color up straight from the pattern paper. Love these little sentiments from the Snowy Delights bundle. So it says, sending you joy and many delights with family, friends, and long peaceful nights. And then I did stamped a few of the snowflakes there on my insert. So let's see. I'm going to do 2 stampings. Now, because I don't want the greeting to be impaired, so I'm going to get my insert, which says with family, friends, and long peaceful nights, and I'm going to ink that up. Goes right towards the top. You want to have a little bit of space for your greeting. Pressing down firmly. Wow. Let's bring our snowflakes back in with that Pool Party. It was a little premature putting it all away. Here we go. We're just going to do some little snowflakes at the top and kind of falling down the right. All right, so there's the insert. Let's do our front label on a small piece of basic white. And this is the one that says, sending you joy. All right. Inking up. You can barely even see that. All right, I can see it better once I flip it over. Kind of goes centered in this tiny label. All right, There we go. Let me put my ink pads away. And let's see my elements. My insert, my card, and oh, I have a little bit more to do here. So I have a die cut of the Perennial Postage dies. This is the largest rectangle, and while I like that little edging, it is too wide for this background. I mean, that would take up my whole card, not the look I was going for. I want it to just kind of peek behind the Poppy Parade. So what I'm gonna do is snip that down, and I'm looking around for my paper trimmer. I am gonna cut this die, and I'm gonna go at 1.5. Then I'm going to take the, and this matters not how you cut it because nobody's going to see behind it. I just know I want to take off about 5/8 of an inch from this rectangle. And you can see my inky fingernails. There we go. Oops, did I do the right amount? Let's see, let's hope. All right, so then these two pieces are going to go together like so. And the Poppy Parade goes right atop. So it looks a little bit crooked. Let's put one on at a time. So just some adhesive, put the Poppy Parade atop. Again, I just want it to peek through, and I'm trying to shoot for equal border on the right and left. And then we're gonna do also, it keeps shifting. That's the thing about liquid glue. It takes a little bit of time to dry. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to put some glue on my bottom piece. And we're going to bring that down. Hopefully I'm on camera view so you can see. Let's push that up. There we go. So then that layers atop our pool party, and it's not pretty on the back. Nobody's going to see the back. It's going to be stuck right on our card front. Left aligned, right aligned. Oh my goodness, something happened here. Let's see. There we go. Better. Much better. I want to put a little pressure down. And I'm going to bring in my little greeting, which is going to go right below here. So totally your prerogative. If you wanted to put it up here, you could. Tell me what to do, above or below. I'm going to bring in my sample that I did earlier. See, I've got them down below. And I think I'm going to go with the same layout. So I'm just going to put it right there. Bring it in right below the village. Those are the little shops, probably like a bakery and the meat shop, the candy shop. So sweet. Okay, there's my greeting. I'm going to add my insert. So again, this opens like a book. I have equal border on both sides, top and bottom. And I have a little bit of overhang, so I'm going to take my snips, straighten that out. Better. Now we're going to add some embellishments. I'm going to go back to my Snowy Delights bundle, and let's see. I'm going to die cut the little trio of snowflakes. I also have little snowballs there, but I'm just going to use the snowflakes. And again, this fits on the mini. I'm going to bring that aside. platform 3 on the bottom, cutting pad, paper, die, pad number 2, crank that through. All right. Here's the extra little snowballs falling off there. They're kind of staticky. It's okay. We're not going to use them anyway. I'm just going to take off the snowflakes. You see the cute little trio there. I'm going to pop these out. So there's a large and a mama snowflake and a baby snowflake. I'll put this away. I will bring back in my cute little card, and I'm going to add just a little dot of glue there, and let's see, bigger one here and one falling right there on the roof. Let's get our snowflakes. Take your pick tool. There's Daddy Snowflake, Mommy Snowflake, and Baby Snowflake. Oh, okay, then we're gonna add some sparkle to those snowflakes. Some rhinestones. Take your pick, does the trick. I'm doing all the rhymes today, have you noticed? And second. And then the third. And squeal, too cute. Okay, I'm loving the cards. I hope you're loving them too. There's my little fox sending joy. There's the bear sending joy, all from the Jolly Delivery bundle. So sweet. And I coordinated that with the Snowy Delights bundle as well. So let me know that's which is going to be your favorite. We've got 3 so far: Gingerbread Man, the Charming Day Floral Spray, or the Jolly Delivery. Let's go with the third card, which is going to be a technique intensive card. And this was a card. Oopsie, I'm dropping my tools are falling. Okay, so this was inspired by the Pampered Stamper. I can't remember her name. Anyway, she's using the 3D embossing folder. We've done this technique in the past with the Sunflower 3D folder. We're now going to do it with our beautiful Wreath 3D folder. And it's actually called Traditional Wreath 3D embossing folder. So let me share with you what's going on. We are going to start with our embossing. So I've got a piece of 5.5 by 4.25 basic white. I need to bring in the big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and that Traditional Wreath embossing folder. I'm going to slip my cardstock, and it's hard to see. I'm slipping it in. I'll show you in a second. I have to move the machine. I want the circle within the wreath slightly to the right. It's hard to see. You can see it right. There you go. This is a big embossing folder. The entire wreath will not fit on your card front unless you are making a 6x6 card. And even at 6x6, some of the leaves from the wreath will not remain within that area. All right, let's see. Oh, I should have done it both ways. Why? Because we want that nice impression. So my recommendation on this one is to go forward and backward. Okay, so then we have our embossed paper, And here's what I was talking about. I want that circle area slightly to the right. I want to see the elements of the wreath. We've got berries and those pretty leaves. And we're going to color this using that inking technique where we flip it over on the back side. We have the deboss side going on, in other words. I'm going to get my shaded spruce. Sorry, my Secret C, wrong alliteration, Secret C ink pad. And I'm just going to glide it over the cardstock. And you see I put down, whoops, I put down another piece of scrap so I don't get everything inky. It's a messy technique. I'm just going to keep gliding it till I get overall coverage. And I will tell you, I should have done this before I hopped on. If you ink up your pad before you start applying the ink, it will be less challenging because it needs ink. And I can see I didn't do that because Stamp with Friends, we had, I don't know, a dozen people using this ink pad, and we used the ink because this is a very ink intensive project. Now, you will see there's a lighter area in there, and I've tried to accommodate that. I'm kind of out of pressure. Again, if you ink up before, it will alleviate that problem. It's okay. It's actually kind of a nice effect because we're going to be embossing our greeting right in the center there. Before we do that, I'm going to do some fast coloring with the blends. This is light shaded spruce, and I say fast, I think I lied because this actually takes a little bit of time. However, it is coloring and it should be very calming and therapeutic. And you're just going to go back in and color these leaves. You will see that the Secret C ink is still on the leaves, but it creates a beautiful contrast, light and dark. So it's obviously a winter night. I can visualize this pretty wreath on a dark door. So pretty. And again, it takes a little bit of time, doesn't take a lot of skill. You're just coloring over that debossed area. It's not like you have to blend and strategize or even look out. You're just kind of gliding it over. So you can do it quick or not. This is a great project when you're sitting and chatting with friends because you don't have to think. You can chat without muffing it up because typically I can only do one thing. And so if I'm chatting, I'm just going to muff up the project because I'm not thinking. And I think I have tried this also with a subtle background. I did a pink, I think it was a bowl bath background, and I don't have the card handy. I should have had it handy to show you. If you do not like the dark coloring, and I had one stamper who did not, she instead just embossed the wreath on very vanilla cardstock, and it turned out just as beautiful. So if you're averse to the dark, you can either not color it or you can do it in a subtle color and it'll be just as pretty. To me, it won't be as striking because to me, the Secret C makes it very dramatic. Love it. And the embossed gold greeting makes it really elegant. And even further, I'm going to have a pretty bow, organza bow with gold accents, which, you know, I think I just saw that ribbon currently is on not available or unavailable. I think at the start of this stamping session, I mentioned that everything was in stock, but I just remembered. All right. However, you could use any pretty elegant ribbon. Doesn't have to be the one I'm sharing. All righty. So if you were one of my clients who took advantage of the free shipping offer the last 3 days, thank you so much. I had several people place orders. I get excited over free shipping, and I can imagine others do as well. So thank you so much for shopping with me and placing an order during that Stampin' Up! Promotion. My free tutorial for those who place orders, I usually send it out once a month. I'm going to try to do it once a week, but when you're a one-woman show, I feel like it's a lot. Creating and marketing and posting the class info and reminding people to sign up for classes, it's a lot. So you will get your free tutorial as well as the free card kit, online card kit, because that obviously qualified you for the free class kit. So not only did you get free shipping, you got a free online class, and it is the Label Me Grateful class, and you get my monthly tutorial, the Fantastic Fun Fold. All right, so I'm almost there. I still have a few more little leaves. And this is what I'm saying. It takes a little bit of time. This has a big wow impact. I think you're going to see that. We have to do a couple more steps. I need to add my red berries, and then I'm going to have to add my greeting. And then you're going to see how we finish it off. Right in here. The blends make this so easy. The brush tip as well. Okay, so we've got our beautiful wreath. Just incredible. Next, I'm going to take my cherry cobbler blend, the bullet tip, and I'm just going to add color to those berries. Very simple. And the folder, the embossing folder, guides you right through the color placement. You can't miss it. So easy. So this might be a Christmas card you could mass produce, because the coloring, honestly, you could do it as you're enjoying a chat or as you're watching a movie, when you're waiting at the dentist. There we go. Okay, we're getting there. We need to add a greeting. So because I am going to be embossing, I'm going to take my embossing buddy and I'm going to glide that little buddy across the center of that wreath. My greeting comes from the, let's see, the Jolly Holly photopolymer stamp. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. Okay, so we are going to be stamping with a photopolymer stamp. So I'm going to ink up in Versamark. This, again, it comes from the Jolly Holly stamp set. The Merry and the Christmas are different stamps. You can kind of rearrange these stamps to suit your greeting. I'm going to ink down. And I'm going to apply a little gold embossing powder. And if you haven't gotten the wow embossing powders, what are you waiting for? These are truly wow. These are not the old embossing powders. These have huge impact. And let's see, there's that C. I want to add a little bit more. And I had my brush at the ready just in case I had any extra flex, and I do not see extra flex. I am going to close up my little canister because I don't want that tipping over. And then I'm going to take my heat tool and watch the magic happen. And so it's starting. All right, how pretty is that? Oh my gosh, I think that's so elegant. Just stunning. Okay, so let's move some of these things out of the way. We're gonna bring in a basic white card base. Standard size, so it starts off 5.5 by 8.5 down to 4.25 by 5.5, and I'm going to flat adhere this. So I'm going to get my liquid glue, and this is going to be stuck onto the card base. Now this is a big embossed piece, so you will need a little bit more than the little trail I'm always touting. It needs to be stuck on there. And I'm going to abut that to the fold and to the top. And it needs, again, to be stuck on there, so I'm applying lots of pressure. Oh, thank you, Sandy. It is stunning. We're not done yet. The colors, the gold, I think it is stunning. And what I would do on my own, I would probably slip this under my glass mat for a few minutes to make sure it was nice and flat and adhered. You can also run it through as a sandwich on your cut and emboss machine to make sure that everything is stuck on there. Now I'm going to bring in 2 little die cuts from my Charming Day bundle. Those little branches, I think they mimic the leaf on the wreath really nicely. We're going to pop that onto our card front. And let's see, do I have my ribbon? The ribbon is that pretty gold organza, and it's called Gold Striped 3/8 inch mesh ribbon. We're gonna do a pretty bow, and I'm gonna try to do a pretty bow with my bunny ears. Let's see if it works out. And I'm going to tweak it. Make sure I have a pretty bow there. And it's going to be stuck right there on the card front. So let's get, oh, I'm out of glue dots. Let me grab another supply. Mini glue dots, a brand new roll. I'm so glad I can just grab these off the shelf. Okay, so I'm going to add a couple of glue dots because I want this bow stuck on there. So a couple of glue dots will do the job. I'm going to pop them right over those little twigs. And I'm going to also slip a dot underneath. Right, like so. And another. Keep those in place. And we can kind of fluff those little twigs right there. Bring that one in. Not finished yet. And now how perfect is the little embellishment, the cherry cobbler. And this comes from, oh my goodness, these are on either unavailable or out of stock. I'm trying to remember what they're called. The cherry cobbler dots. Let's just call them that. I'm making stuff up. Okay, there we go. Right there. There is our technique card with the traditional wreath embossing folder. And I'm telling you, this could be your Christmas card of the season. It is easily mass producible. So there we have it, guys. We have 4 cards for the season. That traditional wreath, the jolly delivery. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way. Too much stuff. Okay, so there we go. And our happy birthday could be another Merry Christmas card. And our adorable gingerbread man. And let's see. There you go. There are our 4 projects, our Stamp with Friends projects for the month. I hope you give these a try. You can make these after you've seen step by step how to create them. You realize they are totally doable. If you need any of the supplies to make these cards, I would love it if you shop with me. When you shop with me, you get a exclusive tutorial with any order. You get 10% back in Stampin' Up! Rewards when your order is $20 or more. You get the free online class kit when your order is $50. And if your order is $75 or more, you get a bonus gift. I'm going to be sharing that with you, I think on Monday, maybe Tuesday. But you will see what else you get with your Label Me Grateful card kit. Thank you so much, Sandy. I appreciate your feedback. I think these cards are super fun. They're super doable. And again, if you need anything, reach out. If you have any questions, the recipe file is under the file section of this page. If you came in late, catch me over on Just Stamp with Anna Marie on YouTube. All right, my friends, I will see you soon. Thanks for joining.